Anthony Scaramucci is out there trying to get his 15 minutes. He's agreeing with people like Bill Maher and saying that the country can't survive another 4 years of Donald Trump. Okay, I just want to make 2 points. First off, what is it that Trump has done or is doing that is causing so much trouble to the country that we won't be able to survive? And number 2, if a president has enough power to destroy the country by himself, then the office of the president has too much power. And that's what you should be fighting against. The Constitution was created in such a way that it limits the power of the federal government. And if people on the left think the office of the president, or Congress, or the Supreme Court have too much power, then we have something in common. But they don't want to take any power away from the government. They just want to wield that power themselves. Now, this is a serious charge that Trump is ruining our country. So I educated myself on their claims. I read several articles from the left and tried hard to make sense of them. Let me tell you, they're all over the place. No real specifics, and they just mostly talk about attitudes and language. People don't like us around the world anymore, and why doesn't Trump condemn white supremacy? Which he has over and over again.
There must be no tolerance for anti-Semitism in America or for any form of religious or racial hatred or prejudice. We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated. Just happened, must be defeated. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
At the end of a Think Progress article, after blaming Trump for the so-called rise of the far right all around the world, it ends with this, quote, "Leave it to late-night host Seth Meyers to make it not so funny, yet plainly accurate. Trump didn't change the GOP. He turned them loose," Meyers said in a recent monologue. He's like a therapist who tells a troubled teen to express his truth, and then the kid drives his car into a Jamba Juice. And when Trump is out of office, it doesn't mean Republicans are going to go back to normal. They haven't been normal in a long time. Unquote. In an article that makes the claim that Trump is to blame for whatever they don't like that's happening in the world right now, they end it with the statement that Republicans have been this way for a long time, which proves that it has less to do with Trump and more to do with trying to bring down their opposition. This is just the demonization of the Republican Party. They can't point to any policies that are out of the ordinary. A few have mentioned tax cuts, but that's been a long-time staple in the Republican platform. Others have mentioned the debt, which I agree is a huge issue, but our enormous debt is a bipartisan creation. This is simply another smear campaign against the president. Bill Maher and others are actually wanting a recession to happen so that it hurts Trump's re-election chances. But you know what Bill Maher doesn't say? That he thinks Trump's policies will cause a recession. He's just rooting for Americans to suffer, especially Americans who are barely getting by, because that's who gets hit the hardest in a recession, just so that a Democrat has a better chance of winning in 2020. I do have to admit that Maher is kind of accidentally right, though. Trump being president is causing a huge problem in this country. It's causing Democrats to divide us more than they normally do. I have friends who've been Democrats their whole life, and we can hang out, talk politics, and never accuse each other of being evil. But that's getting harder and harder to do. And that's by design. Dave Morrison, like Dennis Prager, often differentiates between a liberal and a leftist. The media and most of the Democrat politicians are leftists, but a significant part of Democrat voters are liberals. And conservatives and liberals can get along just fine. In fact, we agree on most issues, but what the leftists are doing is trying to draw a line in the sand. If you support Trump and the Republicans, you're evil. That's it. But like I said earlier, this is the same old, same old. The only difference now is that there is a Republican president who doesn't apologize for who he is. And who is Donald Trump? I hope our regulars don't take this the wrong way, but Donald Trump is basically a classical liberal. Hear me out. As I said in my video, hey, you're not a leftist. A classical liberal and a true conservative have a lot in common. What conservatives are conserving are the liberal principles of the Constitution. And classical liberals support those principles too. What we found out beginning with Obama's first term is that many Democratic politicians who claim to be liberals are actually progressives and socialists, and probably always have been. They've just been lying. And what we're seeing now with the Democratic candidates for 2020 is that they're tired of pretending to believe in the Constitution and Western liberal values. Trump, just like many of us and many liberals, thinks the government should have less power. And those that say they think he's destroying the country believe the opposite. They think the government should have more power. Are they too blind to see that with more power, an evil president actually could destroy this country? And that leads me to my conclusion. They don't think Trump is destroying America. They know we can survive another 4 years with this administration. They just don't want to be out of power for that long. Politics have always been ugly, and it's gotten uglier, but only because Trump doesn't play by the rules the left have created. And it really makes them angry. He's not afraid to actually say what he thinks unapologetically. And this country is getting further divided, but it's on the false premise that Trump and the Republicans have shifted hard to the right, which is laughable. He is further to the left than mainstream Democrats were in the 1990s on most issues, or at least what they told us their positions were. When Donald Trump says that his agenda is about restoring the basic American values that built this country and will always make it great, personal responsibility, individual liberty, tolerance, faith, family, and hard work, it drives the left crazy. But guess what? Trump didn't say that. That's from the Democratic platform of 1992, which brings to light what is obvious to most of us on the right. The Democrats have moved so far left that Bill Clinton's Democratic Party would be called the far right in today's political environment. You can look at any issue and it's clear that the Republicans haven't moved any further right. I challenge you to prove me wrong. You can't name one single issue that the Republicans have moved further to the right on since Trump has been in office. Can we survive another 4 years of Trump? Absolutely. I am worried about our debt, but that's been on everyone in Washington. Trump has only been a small part of that at this point. I mean, he can't sign a spending bill that cuts spending if they never come across his desk. The left have always demonized Republicans, and saying that we can't survive another 4 years of Trump being in office is just another way of scaring people away from supporting him. And that's the simple truth. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to become a supporting member of Blue Collar Logic, click on the link in the description and give what you can.